Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are located. It's a pleasure for me to be with you guys today. I'm just going to turn on my video just for a moment because I think it's just good so that when you are dealing with the speaker that you're able to see the individual. So hello, everyone. And today we are going to having a presentation that I want to talk to you guys about differentiated learning strategies based on students' DISC personality indicators. And how we're going to be able to kind of communicate today is that we're going to want to really communicate through the chat. So I want you guys to participate, to be a part. That's what makes webinars actually fun, interesting, when we're actually participating a part of it. Let's just tell you a little bit about myself. I am a Maxwell DISC indicator, DC, and you'll understand what that is after about an hour from now. I'm a growth expert who trains, coaches, speaks, and assesses behavior with the John Maxwell Team. He's a leading leadership expert in the world, has over 100 books that deals with leadership, connecting, all of those things. I have 10 plus years as an educator at both the secondary and university level. I'm from the US, and below is my email address. I am thankful that Alpha Publishing has me here today to share this interesting concept with you that I believe will be extremely important for you as a teacher, administrator, and just as an educator. All right, what are we going to be accomplishing today? Today, you're going to learn about yourself and your students' personality style. You're going to discuss the strengths of each personality style. And most important, you're going to learn strategies to differentiate learning for students. Now, I'm going to kind of give you guys the big idea today. And this is the pain point, the reason why you want to listen to what I'm sharing today. As a teacher, if your sole job was just teaching, you would absolutely love your job. There would be no stress. There would be no issues. However, as educators and as teachers, you know that your sole job is not just teaching. You have the administrative part of it, the lesson plans and all of that. And if you have a good educational publishing company like Alpha Publishing, that makes it a little bit easier where they provide that stuff for you. But on the other end of it, the other end of teaching is the behavior part. It's that behavior management. It's that you have all of this knowledge that you want to share with the students. But every day, you're not sure what type of classroom you're going to get. Your classroom at times can be held hostage to the personality of 1 or 2 or 3 students. And it can be to the point sometimes that you have such a bad experience when it comes to your class. I've actually had a friend who was an educator. She refused to name her child a certain name because it gave her flashbacks to a problemsome child in one of her classes. And we understand that we want to teach and we want to educate and we want to connect. But if behavior management is an issue, then that becomes a problem. And I'm going to be able to help you today to deal with that. Now, we're going to start off with a nice icebreaker coming up. Here's the thing I want you to understand, and this is from my mentor, John C. Maxwell. Connecting increases your influence in every situation. If you can connect, you will have influence. Your kids, your students do not care about how much you know until they know how much you care. And that's just the big idea here, is that if you can connect with your kids, it will have a tremendous impact in your influence to be able to teach them. So here is our icebreaker. So what I want you guys to do, and here's the instructions. I'm going to give you guys 60 seconds to find numbers in sequential order, meaning you need to find the 1 first, then the 2, then the 3, and you must find them in order. I'm going to give you 60 seconds, and I want to see how many numbers can you get up to. All right, so 60 seconds, find the numbers in sequential order, 1, 2, 3, and see how many you can do.
The game begins in 3, 2, 1.
I want you to keep going, not just 1, 2, 3. You keep going as high as you can go. So don't stop at just 1, 2, and 3. Keep going. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Keep counting. All right. So what I want you to do is I want you to put in the chat.
في حد عمل معلومة.
So put in the chat the highest one that you got. 20, 18, 14. Bana has 22. Malik has 27. Nagwa has 25. Just put it up. What's the highest you got? So right now it looks like 27 is the highest we have so far. That's right, 27. 27 looks like, oh, Jonathan got 29. So here's the thing. You guys went through it, and this is kind of how class is sometimes. You come into class, there's all of these different things. But let me tell you something. Let me give you a little trick here to see if this makes a difference to what you guys are going to do. All right, here, what if I drew a line here, broken them up into 4 different quadrants. Then you see the 1, the 2, Allah had 40, 2, 3, 4, 5. All of a sudden, you're seeing a pattern that is starting to emerge here. All of a sudden, these numbers don't look random. There is a pattern to these numbers. So now what I want you to do, we're going to do this one more time. I'm going to give you 60 seconds, one more time, to see if you can find how many numbers you can get up to. Starting now.
The game begins in 3, 2, 1. The game begins in 3, 2.
All right. Great job. I see people with 88, 85, 60, 71, 56, 53, 34. What you notice is that the numbers have gone up. When you started to see the pattern, you became more effective. When you saw the pattern, you became more effective. And this is why this webinar is so important, because I'm going to teach you how to identify patterns in the people that are around you, but in particularly your students, that will help you to accelerate your ability to teach them and to do what you love so much. All right, so here's what we're going to do now. We're talking about patterns and identifying things. I'm not even showing you the whole animal here, but let's see if you can guess what type of animal that is on the screen based simply on the pattern that you see. So at the very top left, write in the chat what you believe that animal is at the top left. At the very top left, what do you believe that animal is? All right, we get in a lot of tigers. Tigers, top left, tiger, tiger, tiger. Very good. All right, now let me ask you on the right, top right side. Got dog, dog, dog. Someone has a cat. Dalmatian, okay. Cow, all right. Dalmatian. Banda, all right. Dalmatian, all right. Now let's talk about the bottom left. What's at the bottom left? Zebra, 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 zebra. You guys are looking at the zebra. And then lastly, the bottom right. What is the bottom right? The bottom right, giraffe, giraffe, giraffe. Now look at this. You guys are killing it. And if you notice here, let's see if you're correct. Absolutely correct. And the person who even said Dalmatian, they got it exactly correct. So here it is. Even without seeing the whole animal, because you were able to spot the different patterns, you were able to know what type of animal it was. Now, it would be problematic if you were not able to distinguish between the patterns. If you went and treated the tiger like you treated that Dalmatian puppy, you may be in the hospital, or even worse, you may be dead. The thing is, people are different, but they are predictably different. We all are different. Your spouses, your friends, your students, your colleagues, they're all different, but they are predictably different. And just like this tiger, Dalmatian, zebra, and giraffe, they all can give you indications of what type of personality they have so that you know how to interact with them. Now, we're all educators here, right? And we all know about differentiation. You hear it all the time. You have to go to workshops to it. You have to deal with it all the time. And the main one that we deal with is differentiate by subject understanding. We look at reteach level, on level, enrich. We try to see what type of student, when it comes to the subject matter, that they have understanding, and we will teach on that level. There's another way of differentiation, which is differentiate by multiple intelligence: verbal, logical, musical, visual, kinesthetic, interpersonal, intrapersonal, and naturalistic. And then lastly is differentiating by personality and behavior, which is DISC. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Now, the question is, you're saying, what is DISC? Well, DISC was formed by a man by the name of William Marston. This was his ability to talk about the ways to distinguish people's personalities. The D stands for dominant. The I stands for influencing. The S stands for steady, and the C stands for compliant or correct. Now we're going to watch a short 3-minute video that's about these different personalities all getting into the elevator. So this is, you may see yourself in here, the kind of extreme versions, but you may see yourself in here. 3-minute video, check it out.
Okay, so we've established that everyone is different, right? But here's the cool thing. They are predictably different. We all are. And because of that, we can actually predict how people will act or react in a given situation. Our world is made up of 4 types of people. There's dominant, or the D style, influencing, which is the I style, steady, or the S style, and compliant, the C style. Generally speaking, those are the personality types of the people you interact with every day. And I'll let you in on a little secret. You're one of them. Let's take a look. We've all been waiting on an elevator and seen the girl who presses the button, steps back and looks at the button again, then presses it again, and again and again. Yeah, that's a D style. She has places to go and people to see. She's probably always in a hurry, so then she'll tap and hold the button, frustrated, thinking she can actually make it move faster. D styles are dominant, direct, and results-driven people who want to control their environment and then do something to make a difference in their world. Now, let's take a look at the I style. She is Talky Talkerton. Once the doors open to the elevator, she's the one who turns around and starts talking to nobody in particular about pretty much anything. She's an influencer. When the elevator stops, she's the jokester who quips, "Third floor lingerie, enjoy your day." Now, not all I styles are cheesy people who tell mom jokes all the time, but you see what I mean. Eyes draw energy from people and love to engage. Now, here comes little Miss C style. She's the quiet one. She's kind of off to the side, standing in the front of the elevator, looking at the plaque that reads, "Maximum weight, 2,500 pounds. She's calculating body weight. Uh-oh, if one more person gets on, we're gonna go down. She's on the schedule, but she's allowed herself plenty of time. She's compliant, she knows the rules, obeys the rules, and wants everyone else to do the same. Look at her, how cute. Enter the S personality. She's stable, steady, and keenly aware of her surroundings. She wants everyone to be happy, and she thinks it's her job to make it so. She's the one holding the elevator door open to make sure everyone who wants to get on can do so at their leisure. Meanwhile, Miss D's in the back huffing and puffing about needing to get to her meeting. The S will even take the stairs if there's not enough room for Miss I, who keeps everyone waiting while she finishes her mocha latte frappuccino thing. Harmony and steadiness are a big deal to the S. As a leader, it's important to know these DISC styles so you can begin to better understand the people around you. It's also important to understand that we are all a blend of these styles. Sure, we can adapt those blends based on our environment or when a specific situation calls for one style over the other. But more often than not, we've all got to accept our DISC and learn to live, work, and play and accept these basic truths. So there you have it. We're all different, but we are predictably different.
Yeah, all right, cool.
Okay.
Okay, so you got a quick overview, kind of a hilarious video on the elevator, and it's kind of extreme, the DISC. And I know some of you may say, well, I can see myself a little bit in each at different times. Here, this is not designed to put you in a box. It's not to say, you're a D, you're an I, you're an S, you're a C. We're all kind of a blend of maybe 2, at most 3 of them. But it's not designed to put you in a box, but it's designed to make you aware of your strengths, of some of the obstacles you have, but also who you're dealing with. If you can see certain personality traits, and you know as you were going through listening to that video, people were popping in your head. Ooh, I know a D. Huh, I know an I. Oh, I think I'm an S. Oh, no, I think I'm a C. And so I don't want you to get in this idea that you're just this one of them, but mostly we're blends of them. But just like the tiger, the dog, the zebra, and the giraffe, knowing the spots helps us to better have awareness of who we're dealing with and how we can connect, because if we can connect with them, we can influence them. All right, what shapes our personalities? How do we become a D, an I, an S, and a C? Some of it is hereditary, a large part. You're just born that way. If you have children, you'll have a 3-year-old and she just comes out and she's this bossy and this leader. You didn't do anything behind it. She just came out the womb just being that person. And then you have one who is just always so helpful, not anything with environment, is just always caring about other people. So hereditary is part of it. The other one is role models. If you grew up with parents who may have had a different personality type, simply because of their habits and their behaviors, they kind of formed on you. Maybe for me, I grew up with a military father. So my background became a little bit more disciplined that maybe my genetics wasn't designed to be, but because my father was in the military and he put habits in me that were very disciplined, I developed some of the characteristics that he had. That was based off of role models. And then lastly, environments. Here's a big idea about personalities, and you guys can probably get this. Sometimes your personality at work is different from the personality at home. Your environment shapes your personality. You're not necessarily the same person in all the places that you are. You're not necessarily the same person when you're in a stressful environment. You may find that some of your DISC will go higher or lower based off the environment, how stressed you are. So hereditary, role model, environment all play a part in shaping your DISC personality. Now, let's talk about the D and the I, starting off. The D and the I are kind of outgoing. They're the ones who have no problem public speaking. The I does it because they just want to be the star. They're just born to be the star. They're born to be the center of the attention. The D does it because they want achievement. If public speaking is going to get them to their goal, they're going to do public speaking. The C and the I, they're more reserved. They're not scared of public speaking, but they're not going to just jump in, and they're not going to just jump in and say, I'm just going to do public speaking. They're going to have to be prodded in to go ahead and do that. Now, the D and the C are task oriented, meaning they want to get stuff done. If you're dealing with the D, you have a D for a boss. So they want work done, task oriented. When they go on vacation, they're focusing on budgets, where they're going to go. They're very task oriented. The C's, once again, are task oriented, meaning they want to make sure work gets done. The I and the S's are more people oriented. The I's absolutely love being around people, and the S's values relationship. Teamwork is a high value for them. So this gives you kind of a basic on the grid of the DISC. Now, let's talk about what is your DISC personality type and how it relates to you as an educator. So we're going to kind of highlight very quickly each one of these, and I want you to see yourself in it. Now, this is a car. Driving. And when you think of a car, you think of somebody who's in control. They know where they're going to go. They want to control the speed. They want to be in charge. People who love to drive do not want to sit in the passenger seat. They want to drive. And that characterizes the D, the dominant personality. Now, they seek results. They're active multitaskers. They're driven by authority. They will easily take control. They brace any change as long as it gets them results. They're very, very comfortable responding to direct confrontation. They don't mind a good argument. They treasure loyalty. Now, here's the thing. Only 3% of society are Ds, are just pure Ds. Only 3% of society. So can you imagine the whole world being people who wanted to confront each other and try to take control? It would be an absolute disaster. I think 3 out of 100 is good enough. Their greatest fear is just being taken advantage of. They want respect and don't take advantage of them. Now, what are their strengths? They're bold, confident, decisive, productive, strong-willed, independent, positive, persistent, excels in emergency, motivate others to action, goal-oriented, values result, values business-related socializing, comfortable leading, thrives on resistance. Now, I want to ask you guys a question here. Which one of these strengths do you think is great to be a teacher? As a D teacher, one of these strengths, just going to put in the chat, what do you think would be these strengths would make this person a good teacher with these types of strengths? I can see positive. Yes, you want your teacher to be positive. Productive. You want a productive person. Persistent. Even when a child doesn't seem like they're producing, they're going to be persistent, believing. They're a motivator. You want somebody who's going to motivate your child. They are, Hong Kong says, not a good teacher. Positive and motivates others. They're goal-oriented. Okay? Very good. So confident. You want your teacher to be confident. So this is a D. Obstacles. They can be argumentative, inconsiderate, opinionated, insensitive at times, domineering, impatient, cannot relax, can appear cold. Now, which one of these obstacles would be problematic as a teacher? Which one of these will be problematic as a teacher? Most of them. Cannot relax. That's especially bad if you're in elementary school. Can appear cold. Absolutely. If your students feel like you can't appear cold, they want to connect with you. All of the above. Impatient, being bossy. These are things that can easily turn off your students. But here's the thing. A D teacher can absolutely be an amazing teacher if they are aware of their obstacles. One of the teachers, my grade 6 teacher, mathematics, was Mr. Diggs. And Mr. Diggs was the first teacher who identified that I was gifted. And he was a D teacher. He would not let me live below my potential. And that's what D teachers are the ability to do. Now, let's talk about I teachers. I's, they seek friendly environments. They're always active, relationship-oriented, emotional and animated, great storytellers, encouragers, treasures great experiences with others. Now, they make up 11% of society. Their greatest fear is rejection and loss of approval. The I's are the ones who are telling stories. They love to be the star. They're the center of the attention. When you walk into a room and there's somebody where everybody's circled around, more than likely you're looking at the I in the group. Now, let's look at the strengths. And I want to just give you a moment. Give you a moment to look for the strengths here. I see you, Christina. She says it's me, but not keen to be at the center, but to inspire. All right, I want you guys to look at the strengths. Which one of these strengths makes a great teacher? Which one of these strengths of an I makes a great teacher? Just go ahead and put it, inspires, absolutely. I want a student charming, enthusiastic, creative, all the above. They say all the above, inspires. So we're seeing that an I, great in this situation, inspires others, charming, spontaneous. Hong Kong says will be good in PR, optimistic, social, very much so. These are all things that are very good and will make this I individual a great teacher. And we will find often, particularly in elementary school, that in primary school, that there's a lot of I's who are elementary school teachers because kids absolutely love them. Now, let's talk about obstacles. I want you guys to look at the obstacles here. And you may know I's, you may be friends of I's, you may be an I. Which one of these could be problematic as a teacher? Disorganized. Sometimes you will, an I will say they're going to have homework and then they forget to give the homework. Don't listen, don't follow through, forgetful. They just forget that they gave homework assignments. And then you'll have one student raise their hand, Mister, remember we had homework? doesn't listen, impulsive, talks too much. So all of these doesn't follow through. These are all obstacles for a person who's an I teacher that they have to be aware about. Let's look at the other one. This one is grouping, waste time. That's a big one, wasting time. So S seeks team environment. They're very loyal, easygoing, agreeable, evenly paced, good listeners, compassionate, treasures peaceful relationships. They make 69% of the population. And this is good because we want 69% of the population to be easygoing and agreeable. That's what we want. We don't want everybody wanting to be the star, everyone to inspire. We don't want everybody taking control. Easygoing, agreeable, that should be 70% of society. Their greatest fear is the loss of security. And here's a big one, confrontation. S's hate confrontation. They will run from confrontation. They absolutely hate confrontation. Now, here are the strengths of an S. Tell me, a teacher who's an S, what strengths here would be great for a teacher who's an S? Supportive, absolutely. Supportive goes a long way. Compassionate. I think about the compassionate teacher I had in second grade. Great listener, especially when you get into the higher grades. You know, a teacher who just listens to you, will you remember? Hard worker. It's hard to be a teacher, and it takes a lot of work. Great listener, compassionate. So all of these things, they find the easy way. They look for the easy way to make things work. Absolutely peaceful. You want your teacher to be peaceful. So these are all great team player. These are all great strengths that a S teacher would have. Now let's look at the obstacles. How would these obstacles affect a teacher's ability to communicate? Which one of these? And there's one big one that is here: skeptical, difficulty saying no, struggling with confrontation, resisting change. And I can tell you, in this COVID environment where many schools had to go to online teaching, one of the ones who struggled the most, it was two types who struggled the most with online teaching: the I's, because they're used to being around people, and the S's, because S's resist change. They have their way. They have the way that the classroom is set up. And now they had to do all of this new learning for online environment. It was tough for them. But here's the one that becomes the biggest issue: shuts down in confrontation. You see, at S, as long as their classroom is nice and peaceful, it's wonderful. But what we're talking about today is what happens when we have a disruptive classroom. What happens when we have students who will confront that teacher? That's when it becomes problematic for the S. And here it is, 70% of society are S's. So when a student starts to try to confront an S, it makes life extremely stressful for that S teacher. They can't work. They can't, they're constantly thinking about this student who is disrespectful and talkative and who's confronting them. And they don't know how to actually deal with it. All right, here, numbers. C, they seek an environment that honors logic and facts. They're compliant, meaning they follow rules, conscientious, accurate, detail-oriented, and treasures perfection. That is 17% of the population. Their greatest fear is criticism. They're perfectionists, and they don't want anybody to tell them that they're wrong. So they spend all of their time making sure everything is going to be perfect because they cannot have criticism. It's painful. And so we'll look at some of the strengths to a C. Which one of these would make a great teacher? What are these characteristics and strengths would make a great teacher? Planner, yes, absolutely. A great planner to be able to lay out everything, absolutely. What else? Planner, people are focusing on the planner one. Deep thinker, organized, data-driven, all right. High quality work, logical, deep thinker, persistent. These are the ones that would make a great teacher, things that helps them to be great when it comes to teaching, particularly in STEM environments. They would absolutely be amazing in STEM environments. All right, let's look at the obstacles of a C teacher. Which one do you think would be problematic as a teacher? Slow to start, prefer to work alone, rigid. Yes, rigid. You have hard to please. That's a problem for kids. Nothing is ever good. Avoid taking risks, may not see the big picture. These are all issues that are obstacles for a C teacher. Avoiding risk, prefers to walk alone, insecure. All of these can have issues when it comes to being a teacher. Now, once again, these things are not designed to put you in a box, but it's help you to identify patterns so it makes it easy. So you may see that you're a D or you're I or S or C. You may see things in your colleagues. You may see things in your spouse. All it is designed to help you to better understand this of who they are. Probably why we're short of good physics teachers. Good one, Francesca. All right, here is what we want to get to. Unlocking a child's potential and setting them up for future success is dramatically impacted by their ability to experience connection, understand their natural strengths, behavioral styles, and motivation. Now, I want to take you through a nice little journey here. I want you to imagine a classroom of 30 and using the percentages that we had here. Classroom of 30. In a classroom of 30, you would have 1 D student, 3 I students, 21 S students, and 5 C students. Now, the D and the I students are going to be the most prone to be disruptive, to have disruptive behavior in your class. They're going to be the ones. The D is going to try to dominate your class. The I's are going to most likely be talkative in your class. So with that, therefore, only 1 to 4 students in your class should display disruptive behavior like disrespect and excessive talking. Now, if you've been an educator long enough, you would say, that's not true. I have more than 4 students who have disruptive behaviors in my class. And I'm going to tell you why that is the case. You see, S and C students tend to be the most behaved. C is just built in their nature. C's follow the rules and they want to be correct. You will not, C's are the ideal students in a school. You only have 5 of them in a class of 30, but they're the ones going to do their work. They're going to follow all your rules. You're not going to have any issues with a C student at all unless you bring up a group assignment. That's it. But C students want to follow the rules, no problem. The S, which makes up 21 of your students, will behave in your class unless if S students are forced to choose loyalty between their D and I classmates or the teacher. You see, here's the thing. The D and the I, they're the influential ones. Even though they're small in number, they influence everyone else. And the S, they love relationships. Remember we talked about it, 70%, they love relationships. They want to avoid confrontation. They don't want to be peer pressured. They don't want people not to like them. They want to be a part of a relationship. They want you to like them as the teacher, but they also want their friends to like them. And if they're forced to choose between their friends and you lose the battle, then all of this green, or maybe half of this green, now becomes a disruptive class. Anybody who was an S student in school, you know that when you got in trouble, more than likely it was because you had an I friend or a D friend next to you making jokes, saying things, and you were laughing along with them. And because you were laughing along with them, you got in trouble. So S's are very much influenced by the D and the I. And like I said, I was the D myself. I was the D too. I'll tell you a story a little later of what happened to me in kindergarten. Now, here's the thing. D and I students are small in number, but large in influence. The key to effective behavior classroom management is to connect with your D and I students. Your S will follow along with whatever the D and I do. The C, they're going to be fine no matter what. So you have to focus your energy and make sure that you are connecting with the D and the I at the beginning of class, because if you lose the D and the I and they take control of your class, they're going to take control over part of this green. And instead of just having 1, 2, or 3 problems, you're going to end up having a whole group. And that's what happens to classes where the teacher has lost control. Basically, they have lost control of all the S's because they never dealt with the D and the I. And I'm going to give you some tips, some very small, quick tips to help you to be able to do that. All right, I love Dr. Seuss. Maybe you like Dr. Seuss too. Kid, you will move mountains. That is the dominant student that Dr. Seuss is talking about. You see, dominant students, they want to take charge. They're competitive, they want to move fast, they're goal-oriented, they lead and they organize. One of the things you'll find in a D student, particularly in elementary school, is that they'll think that the teacher is moving too slow. I remember my first day in kindergarten. Miss Ziegler was my teacher, and I walked in, and she was teaching the ABCs, and she was doing A, B, and I was like, A, B, C, D, E, F, and I couldn't take how slow she was moving. I got kicked out of class my very first day of school because I felt like the teacher was moving slow. That was an indication of my D personality as a 6-year-old. But you will find that they'll be competitive. They'll want to achieve. Now, if the student is good in that subject, they'll achieve by getting a good grade. But if a D student is not good in that subject, they will actually just be competitive to finish the exam first. And you'll know students like that. The student will just raise his hand or her hand and say, I'm finished, and it's only been like 5 minutes, as that's some type of accomplishment to finish their exam in 5 minutes. And you're like, go back and check the work. And they don't want to check the work because they want to be the first ones to finish because they're highly competitive in that. Oh, Suzanne, that actually made me smile. All right, under pressure. Now, what would put a D under pressure? Students under pressure, where you have exams go under pressure, when they have issues with school, with kids, other ones, puts them under pressure. When they're under pressure, was resistant, rebellious, strong-willed, angry, demanding, and bullying. That's what they begin to do. So a D style will become resistant to you. If they feel like they're not achieving, they will try to take control of the class. Because if they feel like they're not understanding, they don't want to look dumb because achieving is important. So they're going to make sure everybody else doesn't. So they're going to try to take control of your class. So how do you deal with that? Here's the motivator. Give them an opportunity to oversee something or to compete. They have a need for achievement. Whatever you can make them feel like they're achieving. So maybe they're kind of slow progress in the subject matter. Find something where they can achieve in, because that will motivate them. That will connect them to you. But here's the other part. And these are where I say connect to their giftedness. This is the part that's going to make a difference for you. Is that you're going to have conversations with your students. With a D student, you would never have a conversation in the middle of class. When you have a D student in the middle of class and you confront them, what you're doing is setting yourself up for a loyalty test with the S student. Basically, the D student and you are going to be competing for the S student's attention. And the D student knows that. That's when they'll start being very disrespectful and your kids will be like, ooh, ah. Do not confront Ds in class. What you need to do, outside of class, you talk to them. But here's how you start it. Here are the 3 things you can say. Any one of them works. I like that you're very confident in yourself. But whatever you need to say, I want you to spend more time on your homework. I like that that you set your mind to something and you go after it. So I want you to go after this B on this next exam. I like that you're committed and decisive. Can you commit to doing homework every day this week? You're giving them little small pieces of achievement, but you're connecting with their giftedness. These are things that Ds want to hear, and you're connecting. And remember, connecting with the D will go a long way. The I's. It is fun to have fun, but you have to know how. That's 11%. I styles are outgoing. They're going to shout answers out in class. They're going to sometimes overlook details. They make friends easily. They're emotional, high energy, creative, but they're extremely talkative. And this is the other behavior that can derail your class. When they're under pressure, when maybe they're having social issues. And that's the biggest thing with the I. It's not necessarily if their grades are bad. So many times I's can care less. Because school, many times for I, is they may do well in school, but it's social for them. But if they're having issues with other students outside, things like that, that will put them under pressure. And then they may become active, impatient, loud, seek attention, negative attention, big emotional displays. What do they need? They need recognition. They need that what they say matters. So when they're raising their hand, wanting you to hear the answer, what they want you to do is to recognize them. They want to say that I'm here. You see me. I exist. I'm here. It's not that they just want to be the star. It's just they have a need to be recognized, to be seen, that the words matter, that what they hear matters. So when you know you have an I, you have to make sure that you give opportunities for recognition. Always give them a chance to speak in front of the class, maybe to give announcements, maybe to tell them what homework assignment they're going to be doing, anything that allows them to have a sense of recognition. Now, whenever you want to confront problematic behaviors, start with any one of these 3 sentences. I like that you're fun to be with, but I need you at times to just be a little less talkative so that other students around you can learn. I like that you are a friendly person, but I need you to sit down some of the time in class and not get up all the time. I like your enthusiasm is contagious. I want you to get everybody excited about this project that we're about to do. Once again, you're starting off with connecting with that gift with positive affirmation, and then you're following it up with whatever action that you're trying to give them feedback on. All right, the S's. Unless someone like you cares an awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. This is S's, 69%. They're easygoing, well-balanced. They may not speak up in class. They're agreeable, good listeners, helps, looks out for others, consistent, reliable, dependable. If you have your D's and I's in order, your S's will tend to be okay, except when they feel like their security is threatened. When they feel like somebody's threatening the security relationship, S's can become extremely stubborn. And so if you are married to an S and it gets in certain situations, you can find an S to be extremely stubborn and not move. And you can see that in your students at times. But when they're under pressure for exams, they reach out for relationships even stronger. They go out of their way to keep the peace. What motivates them is letting them know that you need their help. They make absolutely great partners and teams. When you have groups, they're the key to your groups. They make sure that everybody else, that your group is running well. And when you let them know that you need their help, that makes them feel affirmed. They respond extremely well to just when you talk to them about yourself, when you ask them questions about what's going on into their life. S's respond extremely well to that. When you give one-on-one tutoring or any of those type of things, all of these things are relationship builders and they absolutely love it. What you have to do with motivating the S is basically boost of confidence. It's not necessarily behavior. It's that many times they don't realize how brilliant they really are. And you have to help them to see that. And how you do that is with relationships. So one of the ways you can say that, I like that you're a caring person. I want you to help this student on this assignment. I like that you try and get along with others. Can you help me put this group together and make sure that they stay on task? I like that you're compassionate. Can you go to this new student and make sure that they're taken care of? These are ways to connect with their giftedness. S students are absolutely amazing to have in your class, but they always just need at times a boost of confidence. And the teachers who connect with them relationally are the ones that they remember more than anything. And will you succeed? Yes, you will indeed. 98 3/4% guaranteed. 17%, that's the C, the correct, compliant ones. And so we say both, correct or compliant. The analytical, logical, neat, and organized will take the whole time to finish the test. So even though they may be an A student, and you know this, they'll be an A student and everybody else is done with an exam. If the exam is 1 hour long, the C student will use the whole hour to do the exam because they're done in 20, 25 minutes. But they spend the other 35 minutes making sure there's no mistakes at all. And they keep reviewing, 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 reviewing. And the rest of the class is like, But the C student is making sure they're not going to make any errors at all. They follow the rules. They seek perfection. They're detail-oriented, and they easily see errors. Now, when they're under pressure, they can become overly cautious, critical, pessimistic, blame others, and they can become very slow to complete tasks. The one task that C-style students are not good at is your warm-up task at the beginning of the class. That task takes like 5 minutes to do or 2 minutes to do. When you tell them to do it, they're still kind of tearing the paper out of their journal. Taking little pieces off of it. They take time to start a task because they want to be perfect. So any task that is really fast for them, they struggle with that because they want things to be they want to be perfect. C-style students have issues in groups at times. They want to work alone. And they'll be the first ones to tell you when other people are not working in the group. And if they get a lower grade on the group, they're going to blame others. So they will be hesitant to work with other people. However, this is how you motivate them. They need accuracy. Give them opportunities to research, analyze, and ask questions, meaning give them assignments outside of class, special assignments just for them. They will love that because once again, it makes them feel special and lets them search out different things. A lot of part of your curriculum, maybe you may ask them to find a good YouTube video to share for the class. They love to do that. Connect with their giftedness. I like how you always try to do your best, but then if you follow, but I need you to work in a group and help others to do their best. I like that you like things to be organized, but I need you to start on this task so that we can get going. I like that you finish what you start, but I need you to move a little bit faster. Once again, positive affirmation along with what you need to happen. Connecting increases your influence in every situation. If you're able to connect with your students, they will learn from you better. Connection takes time. You can't connect just once and it's okay. It's just like putting gasoline in your car. You can't just put it in once and your car keeps going. This is a part, and if you keep putting areas of connections, if you keep using these 3 sentences that I gave you for each one of them, and you're saying this on a consistent basis to your students, they will remember you 20 years later, because they'll say, the DSET student will say, I remember my teacher will always say that she loved my confidence. The I would say I had a teacher who just always admired how fun I was. Or the S would say, this teacher told me that I was smart and I could help people. They will remember. The C was like, this person, this teacher told me I was good to be organized. It makes them feel well. So make sure that you connect, because when you connect, particularly with the D's and the I's, it affects your whole classroom. Once again, when you go into your classrooms, they all look crazy. You don't know what you're looking at. But remember, everybody, all your students are different, but they are predictably different. And so once you'll be able to spot little patterns, you'll know a little way to connect with them and what you should do to take control of your class and to create a better learning environment for your students. Once again, DISC, DISC. It was my joy to share this webinar with you.